Hi everybody, and welcome back to this month's edition of Healthspan Insider, where we talk about some of the research that we've come across in our work that talks to how we can age healthily and how we can live long and live well. And this month we came across a really interesting paper looking at cognitive decline in older people. And for way too long now, cognitive decline has just been considered to be a normal part of aging. As you get older, your memory fades, your attention starts to drop off, and all those sorts of things start to slow down. And for a long time also, we've known that might not really be the case, and that with the brain, the rule that I've often said is it's a case of use it or lose it. And so here, they took 92 older people with a mean age of around 70 years, and they put them through a 10-week brain training program. And basically the brain training program was based on speed, and that was a key element that they found. And they had some remarkable results from this study, really reversing that cognitive decline over aging. They estimate drops off at about 2.5% every decade, and effectively this 10 weeks was able to reverse that 2.5% even better, so therefore reversing that cognitive decline that would otherwise occur. But the key, as I say, was speed, learning to think faster. And this is easier than you could imagine, really, because online these days we have a lot of brain games and training platforms that you can sign up to, and then they'll do a little analysis and they'll set up a program for you, and they will guide you through a series of games that enable you to work on these cognitive domains. And then you can track that in your dashboard to see how those things are improving cognitive function. And so this is really a case of, the earlier you start, the better the outcomes, because you can stop that cognitive decline very, very quickly. Just 10 weeks, you can reverse a decade's worth of cognitive decline. So something you should definitely be worth considering as part of your health span and longevity stack. In a second research paper that we came across was a large study again involving over 1,000 people, and this was looking at the use of an enzyme called nattokinase to help to improve lipid profiles, your cholesterol profile, and also to remove plaque formation in arteries. And as we know, cardiovascular disease remains the leading cause of chronic disease in the developed world. And despite all the things that have been done to improve those statistics, we're still in the same situation. And whilst we absolutely have improved survival rates from cardiovascular events, the disease rates kind of remain consistently high. And so more recently, we've seen a lot of research come out about strategies that we can use to improve that situation. And one of them is the use of nattokinase. This has been around for quite some time. But the interesting part about this study is that they found that lower doses of nattokinase, 3,000 FU or less, was relatively ineffective. And that higher doses of nattokinase, over 10,000 FU, showed remarkable improvements in intimal lining, the inside lining of the arteries around the carotid here, which often build up, and also in lipid profiles. In fact, in some cases, reversing the problem. So that was really impressive, up to 95% improvement in some of these markers. But it does require use of higher dosing. And so that can come with some risks for some people, particularly if you're on other medication and blood thinners, etc. Because nattokinase is a fibrinolytic, which means it does reduce the clotting factor of your blood. And so it's not something you want to just go out and do on your own. You should definitely speak with your practitioner. This study found that those higher doses were pretty safe. And that's because they were able to account for risk factors. And that's a really important part of that. The other part of this study that was impressive is that they found that when combined with proper diet and lifestyle and exercise strategies, the results were even better. And so that tells us that the diet and lifestyle should be the foundation of how we manage cardiovascular disease and not just rely on pills, although targeted supplementation that we can track over time is advantageous. The other interesting part of this study was that they found that those people at the highest risk, people who smoked, people who were overweight or obese, people who had sedentary lifestyles and didn't engage in physical activity and exercise, they gained the greatest benefit from supplementation, especially when that was then combined with those diet and lifestyle strategies. So diet first, followed by lifestyle, or on the same path really as lifestyle, and then use targeted supplementation. Discuss with your practitioner whether nattokinase might be right for you. And then there was a really interesting study, actually one of the favorites I've come across this year, which looked at not just the brain and the biochemistry of the brain, but how we think and view our world. And it was found that hope, having hope, was associated with improved stress resilience and healthier aging over time. And this sounds a bit odd to some people because they might have thought, well, what could hope do? What can I do? But having hope builds stress resilience. It buffers you against the stressors in life. Stress will always come along. But if you have hope that things are going to get better, that there's an answer to the problem and that we'll come out the other side, then the way that stress impacts your body is less detrimental than if you don't have that hope. And so using strategies to build hope and to get a sense of accomplishment in life really does improve our long-term health span. And so we can do that by tackling those tasks that we've been wanting to do for a long time and just never get around to doing. We can keep a journal. Gratitude journaling is one of them. We can, set goals that we hope to achieve and then make sure we put in place the strategies to go out and achieve those. And if we have hope, then just by doing that, we are living longer and we are living healthier. So some really interesting research again this month. I hope you enjoyed that little summary. Pop over, have a look at the rest of the research. There's lots of great stuff there that we're talking about. And in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. Spend time with family and friends. And I look forward to seeing you again for the next edition of Healthspan Insider in 2026. Bye for now.